Okay, so we are live. Let me just make sure I'm. Right. Let me bring my questions up. Hello, Mike Blissett here, founder of Speak Like a Pro Online. And I just want to welcome you to today's Ask Mike. This is my second YouTube live session. I did my first one a few days ago. As if you watch my batching, how to batch content video, then you'll know that this is that was my first YouTube live video. This is my second, and in that previous video, I did mention that I would be starting a weekly Ask Mike YouTube live session. The idea is to run these probably on a Thursday. Somebody did suggest yesterday, I was talking with, that maybe Saturday morning would work better for them. So really just think about for what would work best for you going forward. Of course, you'll be able to watch these videos on catch up and to see how that works for you. But equally, if you do have a preference, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, Saturday morning, I guess those are the three areas that I've been getting back from the question I asked to my mailing list yesterday. So what I've got is Thursday afternoon, 2-3 o'clock, or Thursday evening, 7 p.m, or Saturday morning about 10:30. And this is all London time, so GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So really just think about you, your time zone, where you are in the world, what might work best for you. If you do want to be involved live and ask questions live, and we are going to be doing that going forward. And so, yeah, just think about that. I haven't really advertised this one, this call today, only to my mailing list. Well, so if you watch my video that I did live on, I think it was on Monday this week, and then I sent it out to my mailing list. They got that yesterday, and I just said yesterday that I'll be doing a call at some point this afternoon. It's between coaching sessions, so it's kind of impromptu. It wasn't really planned. The plan was to do a call, but it's not like super planned as they will be going forward. So as I say, I'm just trying to find the place that these calls fit best, both for what I'm doing, also for what you're doing as well. So as I say, be involved, put a comment in the box below this video and just let me know what time slot Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, or Saturday morning might work best for you. And if you don't have a preference, let me know that as well. And that's cool if you're watching it on catch up. Thank you. So as I say, I just posed. I put it out there to my mailing list yesterday. If anybody had any questions they wanted to ask and get a video reply to, because the numbers are quite small at the moment. I think it's about 60 or 70 people. I can't see it at the moment on my YouTube channel. Chances are if they asked a question, they get it answered. And so I got 3 people got back to me yesterday, which is cool. Thank you very much. That was Susan, Dave, and Christelle. And so those are the 3 questions they're going to be running through for this first kind of Ask Mike question. And really just to frame these, the intention for this call, or these Ask Mike sessions, and it's an evolving thing, but the idea is just to create a live aspect of my YouTube channel. So I'm still going to be filming videos. I'm still going to be uploading. Those uploads are pretty much every Monday. I made a kind of a promise to myself about a year ago that rather than being kind of scattergun as I had been previously for about 8 years, posting a bunch of videos and then nothing for 6 months. About a year and a half ago, I actually just kind of agreed with myself, shall I say, that I would aim to upload a video every week. And that and the day that it morphed into was a Monday, because it's the beginning of the week. So I usually get that video on there on a Monday, and I'm really pleased that I've kept that new habit together. So equally adding to that now is the live YouTube live habit, a new one that I'm going to be embedding. And the expectation is that's going to be in like the second half of the week. So whether that's a Thursday, whether that's a Saturday, it doesn't really matter. It's how it sits best with you, maybe how it sits best with me, and how our diaries fit together. If you do want to be involved live, but equally, if you want to watch it on catch up, it could be any time. That's cool. But I just like, that feels like the other side of the coin for me for wanting to grow my YouTube channel. And so if you want to grow your YouTube channel, if you have a strategy and you'd like to roll it to be recorded content, it could be live content, it could be a mixture of the two, it could be one or the other. I like the variety, so I like the mixture of the two as well. So let's jump into the questions today. And just to say, if you've got any questions going forward, if you've got any comments on what I might reply to any of these questions, leave them in the comments box below. Contact me in any way. All the usual channels, the messaging, whichever message service you use, Facebook and all the rest of it, LinkedIn, you got my email address, the website, and equally here on YouTube as well. You leave comments, and if there are questions there, I will see them and I'll include them in the next YouTube live. It's funny, I've been making Facebook lives for probably a couple of years now and then, but this is my second YouTube live, and it's still I still have to remember to say YouTube live rather than Facebook live or something. So I'm going to get used to it. That's good. All right, Susan, by the way, these questions are in no particular order. They're just the order that the questions arrived in my email inbox yesterday. So Susan asked, how do you make thumbnails? So just in case you might not know what I mean by the term thumbnail. Of course, we've all got thumbnails, but I don't quite mean that. I mean the holding image that promotes your video, your podcast, your blog post, whatever it is. You've got a visual image that promotes that, a bit like the front cover of a book, then that is basically a thumbnail. That's a show reel of what to expect in the book, of the podcast, of the video. And so that's really what a thumbnail is. And if you look back on my videos on my YouTube channel, and certainly if you follow anybody else, if you subscribe to any other channels, chances are 9 times out of 10 you're going to see them having produced thumbnails. So basically it's a visual image and possibly a title. Most people put titles on, some people don't, but most people put titles on. Just something to spark your imagination, to encourage you to click that video, click that podcast, click that blog post, and consume it and watch it, read it, listen to it. And that's really what a thumbnail is. So the way I do it is I take a screenshot of my video, and just to say, if you make podcasts or blog posts and you don't have a video, just put your phone on selfie mode and stick it on a shelf or in front of some books, or if you've got a tripod on there, and just and put it on timer if you're taking the picture yourself, and take a screenshot of you doing your thing, talking into the mic, writing, doing your blog post, whatever it is, and then you've got a screenshot of you doing your thing. Equally, if you make videos like me, then just take a screenshot of the video, of a point in your video, and I usually take a bunch because chances are if you take a screenshot, certainly I do, I'm either blinking or looking completely weird. And so it's not just about taking a screenshot, it's finding one that I can potentially use, okay? So that's why I take several. When I take the screenshot, so now I've got a visual image of me doing it, then I put it into Keynote. So Keynote is the Mac version of, I suppose, PowerPoint for if you've got a PC. And all I open is a new document, and I've got a bunch of slides, and that folder is called thumbnails, strangely enough. And so each time I make a thumbnail, I open a new slide, so a blank slide, and I import the screenshots into that and just put it on that slide. So now and then of course, it's a good habit to get into, whichever kind of computer you've got, is to just keep saving your work, because graphics and pictures and thumbnails, they take up a lot of memory, and sometimes it can cause a program to crash. Doesn't often happen, but chances are it's only going to happen when you've stumbled upon something you're particularly proud of. So I think it's just a good practice to get into, to keep saving your work. So now you've got your screenshot on a blank slide in PowerPoint or Keynote if you're on a Mac. And so the next thing is to put a title on it. So you click text, and then you'll get some text on the top of the picture, and then you put your title on it. Now the thing is with titles is that it doesn't necessarily need to be the title of your blog post, podcast, or video, and it can be. For mine, usually they are, but some people just put like, if you look at some kind of newspapers or magazines, when they have sensational titles for an article, and it's just something to grab your attention, it's not necessarily the title of the piece, but it's just something like kapow or something to get your attention. And so just think about your title, what that could be. It could be the title of what you've chosen your post to be, or it could be something its intention is to grab the attention. And so one thing I do is I look on YouTube and also Google in the search bars at the top of each of those pages, and I put in the title that I've got for my particular blog post. Because I was going to say, chances are, the absolute guarantee is, it's not a chance, it's a guarantee that somebody, like millions of people, have made something along the same lines before, because there's just a lot of videos, there's billions of YouTube videos, there's billions of blog posts, there's millions and millions of podcasts. So somebody's made something quite similar. It looks like this, very similar to what you've made or you're about to make. Of course, they haven't made it with your voice, with your tone, with your perspective, which is what makes it unique. But chances are there have been videos made about how to feel more confident, how to create online videos, how to build your online audience, how to batch content, which was a video I sent out this week. There's thousands of videos out there with that. So what I'm looking for is a couple of things. Number one, what is popular? What words tend to get the most views? Because that's helping me do some research, because I'll use similar words in my title, not copying them, but because I put it into my phraseology, into Mikey's language, as it were. But it'll give me an idea of what people are searching for, as to how, if a video has like two views, or a video has 2 million views, chances are that one with the 2 million views had got some things right, because people are finding it. And so to find it, I'm sure a percentage of them will be subscribers, but I think the majority of people that watch videos are finding them probably for the first time. And so they're doing that through putting in search terms for motivation, building your business, career, coaching, whatever it is. And so that gives you a lot of information of how you can use and what you can take from that to evolve your title. And then when you decide what your title is, or what your sensational title is maybe going to be on your thumbnail, then put it in there on as text in PowerPoint or Keynote. And then equally, what I also do on the thumbnails I look at of the other video channels that I subscribe to, and I subscribe to a bunch of them because they're fantastic, they're great, and they inspire me, and I learn a lot, and they're just brilliant people. I look at what kind of fonts they use, what kind of colors, whether they use it in like just how they print the titles. Are they all capitals? Are they lowercase? In scripts, or how do they capture attention? So number one is the words they use, and the other one is how they actually visually use those words within or on top of the image. And so I play around with that basically. So when I started making thumbnails myself, and I started about a year or so ago, and it's all self-taught. I haven't bought any programs or done any courses on it. I used to make maybe, sometimes 10 or 20 plus thumbnails for the same video, just because I didn't want to just delete what I'd already got and put the new idea on, because I was finding bits that worked in different places, and so I wanted to keep saving all the work and eventually finish up with the one that I wanted to work with. Now, as it's gone through the months and the last year or so, I pretty much finish up with one thumbnail, occasionally two, and then I'll flick between the two and decide which one I'm going to use. But then I save it in that file, as I say. It's called thumbnails, and it's not a slideshow that I would share in a training or something. It's a list of slides, and each slide is a thumbnail of a video I've made, and I've got a ton of them now. So I think that's a really good way to not only develop your thumbnails, but also to save them, because once you've saved a thumbnail, you put it into YouTube as your thumbnail on that video, but equally you can use that thumbnail in all the other social medias, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the blah blah blahs, to advertise and promote your YouTube video, and with links back to your YouTube video. So it can be repurposed so many ways, because it's your property, it's your work. And then equally in your newsletters, if you send out newsletters, like if you get my newsletter, and if you don't get the newsletter, if you're not subscribed, just go to my website, mikeblissett.com, click to get the free training, free report, Speak Up, Stand Out, 5 weird ways to make an impact in your presentation. And you'll get that free video training and PDF, but also you'll be subscribed to my mailing list. And when you get my newsletters, you'll see each newsletter I use that week's thumbnail of the video with a clickable link to go to watch my video on YouTube. So again, once you've recorded your good stuff, your content, your YouTube video, once you've created your thumbnail, then your role becomes your own marketer. If you're a solopreneur like me, to just send as many people to that video to watch it and to engage with it as you possibly can. So, and that begins with making a really cool, funky, lovely, whatever your representation is, thumbnail, so that when somebody stumbles across it, it engages them and it causes them to click play. And that's the role of a thumbnail. A bit like in a bookshop, you've got all the kind of promoted books on that table at the front of the bookshop. Why is it you pick one particular title out, or one or two books, and not all the others? It's probably because of the front cover, whether it's the image, whether it's the title, whether it's a word that engages you, something. So somebody, such as yourself, along the way in that marketing team, has done some research, they've done some Google searches, and they found what words spark the imagination of the kind of people that would buy that kind of book, and that's probably you. And so what you're effectively doing with your thumbnails is exactly that. So so just to recap the steps, the first step is to screenshot or take a picture of, a selfie of you doing your thing, or a screenshot of your video. The second thing is to think of a compelling title and search keywords. And that could be Google, it could be YouTube, certainly, because there's millions of other people done something similar, and just see what resonates with you. And then the 3 is to use Keynote or PowerPoint to create your masterpiece, your thumbnail. And probably if there is a 4th step, I've got my computer here and I've got my list of, so I just remember what to say my steps. And I work from single words or key phrases or bullet points. That's what I've got in here. So the 4th step is to have fun. So I think with everything you do in your business, there's the creating content, there's the learning your trade, whether you're a coach, whether you're a speaker, whether you're a trainer, creating your good stuff, delivering it, being the best you possibly can be. But then equally, whether you are promoting that using video as I'm doing now, or whether you're creating podcasts or interviews or blog posts, or however you're creating your stuff, when it gets into the things like creating thumbnails, this is the fun stuff. So have fun doing it. If you're not having fun, why would you do it? And here's the thing. I think if you enjoy playing around, finding the kind of geekiest looking image for you to use as a thumbnail, just to have some fun. And there's been some research done, by the way. If you use like a happy, smiley, intelligent looking picture of you in a thumbnail versus a screen capture of you looking kind of mid-thought, or looking kind of slightly weird, like you're moving to another position, or you're just looking, slightly strange, and you capture that and you use that as your thumbnail, which image are people most likely to click on? And it's actually the one where you're looking a bit weird. So whilst as an ego thing, we like to look pretty and smiley and intelligent, actually from a clickable, causing intrigue with somebody wanting to find out what it is you're talking about, actually the kind of slightly weirdy looking picture is probably the one to go with. So as I say, have fun with this. And the only way to find out which one works for you, the serious or smiley or intelligent images versus the slightly funnier ones, is to try them out, to test them out. You probably, after you've watched this video, if you go back and look at my YouTube channel, all the videos on there, just click videos at the top and you'll see all the bunch of videos I've posted over the last year, about 100 of them. And you'll see the majority of them are me trying to look, in my world anyway, as much as I can do, look reasonably intelligent and smiley, because I like pictures of me doing that, if I like pictures of me at all. But every once in a while there'll be a slightly weird one of me kind of looking a bit weird kind of thing, and just notice how many views they get, because they usually get the most views. So as I say, just test this out for you in the content, whether it's podcasts, blog posts, videos like this, which ones tend to get the most clicks. It could be that that's just a great title and it's just brilliant content. It could be that's why it gets the most clicks, but actually it could also be that it's the most intriguing thumbnail and it causes somebody to click that button. So Susan, thanks for the question. I hope that's been useful for you. As I say, if you want some more detail on how to create thumbnails, I could make a standalone video and screen share and take you through my Keynote file and show you how I drag and drop things and create the titles and everything. If you want a video on that, leave a comment in the box below. I would gladly do that for you. That wouldn't be a live video, obviously, because I think I'd need to put it together, but I could make a video of that. So just let me know and I could put that as a resource in a future video on this YouTube channel. So let me know on that. So moving on to the second question, Dave. Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate your question. Dave asked, how do I come up with content ideas on a regular basis? I think there's a couple of videos I recently posted. One, obviously, this week was the how to batch content. And the reason for that is to just relieve the overwhelm of having to do it every single week. And I do that sometimes, but equally when I know I've got a busy week or month or period coming up, I will batch some content and some thumbnails and all the rest of it, and then just schedule them to go out so that I don't have to, it's one less thing to worry about, and I can concentrate on delivering whatever piece of work I need to deliver, training, speaking, whatever it is, traveling, etc., knowing that the videos are still going out as they should. So that's one. So if you haven't checked the video out from this week, how to batch content, when you watch this video, have a look at that. It'll give you some ideas. And the other one is, I think a couple of months ago, I posted a video on how to create great content. Now, whether it's great content or not, it's really how to create content on a consistent and regular basis. That's what that video was about. So if you haven't checked that video out yet, I'll put links into it in the show notes. When I've finished doing this live post, I'll put some show notes, as I call them, underneath of this video, and it'll be links to both of those videos. So you can either scroll down and find the videos, or just click those links and it'll take you to them, whichever's easiest for you. Two extra tips, apart from just saying go and watch those videos. Two extra tips are, number one, okay, how do I come up with content ideas on a regular basis? Number one, talk about something you love. I think in life, I know as a coach, I was a career coach for many, many years before I started focusing in on this thing about presentations and communication and videos and stuff. I was a career coach for many years, and I talked to a lot of people who were in employment, so they're employed by an organization or by a company, and they were doing something that it wasn't a good fit. They didn't feel great about doing it. And I recognize that because I did that myself for many years. You know, I don't need, just a really quick 15-second version of my story. I was a professional singer for about 20 years. Lots of resting jobs in between that, but for the most part, I was a singer. I loved and adored that. It was a passion. It was hard work. It was incredible. Whoa. And then my final resting job, when I decided not to do that anymore, was I just happened to be working in a bank, and the bank was great. I got some promotions. They were nice people. They paid me regularly, which for an ex-singer is incredible. So everything looked fine. It looked great, except it just wasn't me. I was good at it, but it just wasn't who I was. And so I was doing something that, from what other people might have seen, it was a secure job. It was I wore a suit and they called me Mr. Blissett. But it just wasn't me. And so when I work with people who wanting to switch career and just felt like a fish out of water or in the wrong pond, I can recognize that, because that used to be me as well. So as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, as people who are speakers, coaches, trainers, consultants, therapists, counselors, hypnotherapists, the kind of people I now work with, and that tend to look at how they can promote their videos, their podcasts, their blog posts, to share their good stuff and market their business. It's taken as a prerequisite that they are doing what they're doing because they love doing it. Why would anybody want to train to be, a therapist, a counselor, hypnotherapist, coach, speaker, trainer, because it's hard and they don't like it and they don't feel good about it? It sounds weird saying that, because it is weird saying that. The reason you do what you're doing, if you're lucky enough to be your own boss, or doing something that you've chosen to do, you're doing something that you're passionate about, and that will come across in the content that you come up with, whether that's written or spoken or however it is. And I think you can't fake that. There's something about the tonality, the energy, the connection you'll have in how you share your information. If you're doing something you absolutely adore, that will come through. It will come through. And I firmly believe that. And so the first thing is to talk about something or write about something you are passionate about. If people never watch my videos, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would still, and I never went to film school. I haven't been taught this or anything. I haven't done any courses. But I like putting things together. Before I made videos, I made demo tapes and I made records, and I like recording things and just seeing how good, based on the level of skill that I have, can I make it? And when I was a singer, I used to aspire to be as good as, I'm going to date myself now, people like ABBA. If you remember ABBA, whether you like or dislike ABBA, the thing is, ABBA were ahead of their time in the techniques and the quality of what they produced in the recording studio in the 1970s. They were just light years ahead of most other people. There were a few other groups, but for the most part, they were way ahead of the game. They were just so good, and they had a team around them, and the equipment they used, they kind of almost like sellotaped it together. But what they did was just, now you can do it on a computer. This is before that. They were just light years ahead. And so when as a singer and a songwriter, I had my career, that was always a benchmark. That was what I was aiming towards. Not to create an ABBA record, but to be as technically good as an ABBA record. And there was a few other artists as well. But I never achieved that. But it was good to have that to aim towards, if that makes sense. It made me show up and try as hard as I possibly could, doing something that I adored in my passion, to be as good as I possibly could. Does that make sense? And so the same today with video, that I mentioned some people who I subscribe to, and I follow them on YouTube, and they're not in personal development. They're kind of they're in technology, and they talk about Apple stuff on iPhones. And there's another one, he does a window in his world every day, a kind of almost like a day in the life of. But these people, boy, are they good. Do they produce incredible content? Are they just like, oh my God, it's just incredible. And so they do what they love. And so in doing what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing as well. That's my benchmark. So the first thing is to come up with content, do something you love, because you're more likely to come up with stuff to talk about that will resonate with other people, just because you're in such a good place. And the other thing is the other people. Find out what your audience or your potential audience are interested in. And the way to do that is the same route as I mentioned for researching thumbnails, is Google and YouTube searches. Great search engines. They've got billions of people on their lists, and just put search terms in of things you want to talk about, or your areas of expertise, or what you're interested in. You maybe want to write a post about. Put that term into Google or YouTube, and just see what comes back. You're going to get millions and millions of hits, because people have done their take on that before. What hasn't been done before is your version of it, your take on it. So you're not going to copy these people, but boy, they're going to inspire you. Some of them you're going to think, God, that's not you. That's in your world, that's a bit dumb, and that's okay. There's room for everyone. But some of those hits are just going to blow your mind, and they're going to inspire you to make videos or podcasts or blog posts in the best way that you can. And that's a great way to keep motivated. I think one of the times we kind of hit those walls and we run out of ideas is when as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, we become isolated, we disconnect, and there's like a barrier between us and the outside world, just because the nature of what we do. And so the more you keep those connections, and it could be having coffees with people, it could be keeping in touch with friends, it could be being interactive with your clients. I as a coach, I see clients face to face. We meet up in central London in coffee shops, in hotels, and then equally do Skype and Zoom calls and telephone calls, and equally training. It can be over video, it can be in the room with 100 people. And for me, I like that mixture because it keeps the connection, it keeps the contact. And equally, when I'm looking at how I can develop my video, including this video, I follow other people that resonate with me, that I aspire to be as good as. And that's the thing. So research your audience. They're already out there. They're already watching somebody else's YouTube videos that are kind of in a similar ballpark to yours, but they're not you. So research them, see what resonates, and see what kind of things, what comments are being left on those videos, and that's going to inspire you as well. And then the final point to this question, Dave, is to test it out. It's to test it out. There's only so much research you can do, and that's a massive thing that you shouldn't skip over. But then equally, take action. I've made this is my first real Ask Mike session today. I know I did my first YouTube live a few days ago this week, but this is my first Ask Mike session. I kind of tidied up the office a little bit, but it's not really prepared. But I just did it anyway. You know, I'm not trying to be a hero here, but I just did it anyway, because I know me, if I put things off until everything's perfect, it probably will never get done. It'll stay as an intention, and then at some point the energy will pass, the motivation will pass, and it'll go on the heap of, or the pile of things that shoulda, woulda, coulda, but never got done. And so that's why I'm just doing this today. And hopefully in a week or two, or at some point, this will become more succinct, more coherent. The setup, maybe the scene will be, and maybe it won't be, but maybe it'll be a kind of a bit more on point, whatever that means. But in the meantime, just do it anyway. So what I'm suggesting with you coming up with content ideas on a regular basis is just put the stuff out there, test it out. Some of the content you put out will land, you get views, you will get emails and comments and feedback, and people will say, incredible. And other things will land and they just won't engage, you know? And the only way you'll find that out is by doing it. But the thing is, when things do land, when things do get engaged, and you get comments and emails and congratulations or likes or whatever it is, and equally others don't, that's part of the research too. If something's going well, keep doing that. If something is kind of keeps landing dead in the water, and it doesn't feel good, and it starts to feel like a bit of a hard work, guess what? Probably stop doing it. Concentrate on the things that are landing well and develop those, because you can develop them. Okay, so that's it. So hopefully that's useful for you, Dave. How do you come up with content ideas on a regular basis? What I just said. Okay. And equally, if you've got any comments on that or feedback, or if you've got some extra ideas, you or anybody else watching this this video live, please leave it in the comments box below. I'd be ever so grateful. And it could be that you've got questions that you want answered, that's kind of, this has sparked your imagination, that you want a question answered in a future YouTube live. So please leave your questions in those comments box below, and that would be fab. And then finally, my 3 questions today. Hopefully in the future I'm going to build up with more questions, and they're going to be more kind of punchy answers, because I'm going to learn how to do this in a bit more punchy way. But the 3rd question was from Crystal. And she asked me, where did you train? I'm not quite sure, and I didn't get back to Crystal, so thank you, Crystal, wherever you are. And just to say, each of these people, Susan, Dave, and Crystal, they're all on my mailing list. But on my mailing list, I have people, I just ask them their first name and email address. So I don't know where Crystal is. So I don't know what she actually means by where did you train specifically. So I kind of just give the answer I think she's probably looking for here. As far as a coach, I trained at the Coaching Academy, and that was in 2003. So many years ago now. And I've done some, I'd say some NLP training, practitioner, master practitioner, and trainers training at various companies, and hypnotherapy and sports hypnotherapy, etc., etc. We're getting into a list here, but so I've done some training along the way, and I think pretty much everybody I've ever spoken to has done a version of whatever their list is of training, of getting their experience, their skill kind of as good as they possibly can, and that's an ongoing thing as well. I mentioned earlier that as far as video and marketing is concerned, I'm kind of self-taught. I've done, I've read some books and done some courses, and for the most part, I haven't done a degree or a master's or anything in marketing. And God, it probably would be easier if I had, but that wasn't my journey, and I'm here. So online courses, I guess Brendan Burchard, Total Product Blueprint, I did that, oh gosh, years ago now. 6 or 7 years ago now. He's updated it, and I got access to that, and thank you, Brendan, for that. And it's just incredible. I mean, it's such a huge program, and it was just OMG, oh my gosh. And equally, I went out to California and did one of his live events, Entrepreneurs Academy or something, Experts Academy, that's what it was. And and just be in a room with, I don't know, 1,000 other people, and Brendan jumping up and down on the stage for I think 3 or 4 days was just amazing. It was great. So that's some courses, and that was mostly to do with marketing and just getting yourself out there, getting out of your own way almost. And the other one I did was James Wedmore, and his program is Business by Design. I did one of his before that, and it was called 48-Hour Film School, which kind of, it just broke down the very basics of how to make videos, basically. James went to film school. I've never been to a film school, but I think what James describes is, and by the way, just to say, sometimes people ask me, well, I talked to somebody earlier this week, and they're an introvert, I'm an introvert, and some people are extrovert. Does it make a difference whether you're an introvert or an extrovert when you're looking at promoting what you do, whether it's podcasts, YouTube, whatever it is? And I think my answer is always no, in that Brennan Bouchard is an extrovert. He's out there on the front of the stage, as I say, jumping up and down, being a happy chappy, and he's fantastic and brilliant and in his zone doing that. That's great. James Wedmore is an introvert, and he is in his absolute essence doing that as well. And there's other people like Jeff Walker, who's a really great trainer. He trains in marketing online as well, and he's very much an introvert. I've seen him speak live, and he's the opposite of Brendan. He's rather than the energy being out there, the energy is all kind of here, and he's very quiet, and he's very precise, and he's very kind of slightly slow and methodical in the way that he delivers his information, and it's absolutely gold dust. So I think as far as delivering information, and it's about finding your teacher and finding what resonates for you. I like the combination of the extrovert and the introvert when I'm looking for my trainers. So I've done online courses, Brendan's and James Wedmore's as well. I'll put links below if you want to check them out. I mentioned books. 3 books I just come to mind while I'm thinking about this. One called Brand You, looking at branding and clarifying who you are, and not what your product is, but who you are. I think you are your brand. There's another book called Do It or Ditch It by Bev James, who's the CEO of the Coaching Academy. Lovely person, good friend. And again, she's got this process of, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this business idea? Or do you want to ditch it? Is it just a pipe dream? In which case, just give yourself a break, put it on the back burner, have a happy life, and relax. But equally, if you want to do it, okay, this is what you do. And she has a track record of just taking one step and then the next step and the next step, and it just works. It's a great book. It's a very hands-on, this is how you do it book. It's super cool. And then TED Talks, I think it's Chris Anderson. I read that, I think, a few months ago. I think I did a book review on this channel about it. Chris Anderson is I think it's the CEO of, or the head of TED, the organization, the speakers organization. And he just unpacks his learning about what makes a great speech and delivering a great message and putting a great message together. And so they're books that I've kind of read through the years, and they all kind of go into the mix along with the online programs that, whilst I haven't done any formal training on videoing and marketing, all of them has helped. And then obviously I've attended workshops and webinars through the years as well. And kind of what's come out of that, I guess, is that of course, the next step is then, how do you pass it on? What you learn, how do you pass it on? And so that's why last year I put together my first online course, Speak Like a Pro Online. And it really is, it's kind of giving back what I learned, how to feel more confident in front of the camera, how to put your ideas together into something that kind of can make a course, and then how to launch that and deliver it. So that was the Speak Like a Pro Online. And so, yeah, so that's, and again, I'll put a link to that if you want to check that out as well. But that's how I trained. So some of it was kind of formal in the coach training and the NLP. Some of it was kind of under the radar, sitting at home. absorbing books and online courses and stuff. But what I've gotten out of the end of it is a nice rounded picture, and at least in my mind, of what works. And so for you and what you do and your expertise, just think about what works for you. All I can say is from this industry, this wonderful industry we exist in, is that it's not one size fits all. You don't have to do it this way or that way. You can observe and research and to be aware of this way and that way, and then choose the way that works best for you. And it can be a combination of all of that or something completely different. And that's what makes it exciting. So hopefully that's useful for you, Crystal. And if you want to drop me a line, whether it's an email again, or just leave a comment below, just let me know what you're doing as well. I'd be really interested. And equally, what training have you've had along the way? Again, Crystal and anybody else that's watching this, what training have you got that's been useful? Equally, what training have you done maybe that was a good idea at the time that actually you've never used so far? So maybe it's not been useful thus far. I mean, I've done a ton of them as well. I did, and it's useful, but it's not added anything to my business. TFT, thought field therapy, which is fabulous, but I've never done that or done anything connected to it with any client. So from a business point of view, it didn't add anything to it, even though it's a great medium. Speed reading, I did that a few years ago, and again, nothing, it doesn't show up anywhere in my business. So it's not all been intentional and I use it all. There's been a few kind of detours where I've been interested in subjects, but they actually haven't added anything, I guess, to my business. So it could be that as well. So if you've had any of them as well, just leave them in the comments box below. So that is it. So that's the first Ask Mike YouTube live. I hope it's been useful for you. And if you've got any comments, as I say, leave them in the box below. If you've got any questions you want me to answer in the next call, and the next call is going to be next Thursday, probably around the same time. I don't know what time I started today, between 2 and 3, something like that. But equally for next week, I will figure out a time and I'll let everybody know on social media. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. I'll put a thumbnail together, probably with a slightly weird picture from today, and put the time on as well and the link, so you'll know when it is. If you're on my mailing list, then you will get to know that, because I'll let you know in next week's newsletter, which will drop in your inbox on Tuesday or Wednesday, probably Tuesday. Sometimes it's a day late, that's Wednesday, but you'll get that. If you're not on my mailing list, just go to my website, mikeblissett.com, and click that subscribe button to get the free training, free report, Speak Up, Stand Out, 5 weird ways to make an impact at the beginning of a presentation. And you don't need to hunt around the website for that. It's the first picture right at the top of the home page. Just click that and you'll be able to do it. And then you'll be on the mailing list, so you'll know when next week's call is. That's kind of it. I mentioned I'm going to put a link below for my online course, Speak Like a Pro Online. I'm going to relaunch that in a few weeks. It's not open yet. It's not reopened yet. It has been open last year, but I'm going to reopen the doors again in a few weeks. And so if you want to click that link below, you can put yourself on the waiting list. And all that means is you don't commit to anything. You just put your name on the waiting list. And so when I decide to open the doors, I'll drop you an email, say, hey, the doors are open. Then you can go to the page and check out all the details and maybe watch an intro video and then make a decision if you want to do that as well. And I might offer some free initial kind of webinar calls as well. So I'll show you some extra stuff as well, just to give you an idea, which you might want to do and then maybe not do the course, or do them and then do the course, but it'll give you some choices. So if you want to do that, just follow the link below this video to Speak Like a Pro Online and put your name on the waiting list. So when I do that in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks, you will know. So that's it for this time. If you're first time here and you haven't yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do so. Please do so. Click that subscribe button somewhere around the video. I'll figure out where it is at some point in a future video. click the notification bell so that when I do go live again, or when I upload a new video, you get a little kind of ring on your phone or vibrate or whatever they do. So you get to know that it's happening so you don't miss it. Yeah, share, and I think I said like 300 times. Leave a comment, post a question, and just be involved. It would mean the world to me. So that's it for this time. I'm Mike Blissett. Thanks for checking in, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.